Welcome back, everyone, to part two of what is turning out to be more than just a recap of all the great toys that I picked up in 2025, but I'm also going over some of the strange, awesome, and just plain, what is this? So, we're going to go over a few of my favorite pickups from this year, and we're going to end it with all the great stuff in the second part of that comic deal that I went over in my previous video, and I'll tell you how much I got it all for at the very end. So you're going to want to stay tuned. So a few videos ago, I talked about how something a buddy of mine sell his childhood toy collection. You might have been wondering, but what toys did I keep for myself from that collection? Well, here they are. First up, we have this. The Kenner Real Ghostbusters Firehouse. I think was the epitome of that particular toy line. I also liked the Ecto Pack and the Trap and all those cool weapons, but I think if you were a kid in the 80s and you liked Ghostbusters like I did, you wanted the Firehouse. It's a pretty nice example. Everything's in there with the exception of the purple slime goo stuff, but most of the stickers are on there. Got the attainment unit and all important sign. Everything's in pretty good shape. I just gotta spend some time dusting it off, but I was very happy to be able to pick this thing up. And here we have a few of my favorite Mighty Morphin Power Ranger sets. The original Megazord, which I always wanted but haven't been able to get a hold of until this year. Complete. Look at all those accessories. One of my favorites, the Green Dragon Zord, which is pretty hard to get with all the pieces, especially the little tail piece back there. And what I believe was called the Thunder Megazord set. Complete with all its weapons. I think out of all the collection, these are the items that was really hard to part with, so I decided to keep them. Okay, so you might be wondering, how does it get any better than that? Well, it does. So I'm going to start out with this guy right here. We have from the late 70s, early 80s, Mattel's Shogun Warrior Daimos, which I learned is the last giant robot from that particular toy line, which makes him a little bit harder to find. And picked this up at a garage sale in the wild from a guy who had found it in an attic and had been keeping it in his shed. And once I asked if he had vintage toys, this guy came out, and I knew I had to have him. So, given that he's gone from attic to shed to garage sale, he's been through a rough patch, and you can tell, even after cleaning up just a little bit, he's still pretty rough. His decals are either gone or falling off. Got some scratches on the plastic. Still dusty in some areas. Missing both of the rockets that go here, and notably the hands. But I have been keeping in contact with the seller from that garage sale, because I remember seeing the fist the day of the sale, but I got left behind. And I managed to reconnect with him and got it. There we go, guys. I know as collectors, we all strive for complete, and one step closer. I really do like this giant Shogun Warriors. It's the first one I've ever seen in the wild, and just happened to be one of the rarest ones. I like the giant robots actually over the Shogun Godzilla. And that says something because I like Godzilla, but I think the figure out of the whole line that I would love to find out in the wild probably be the Rodan. And I've gotten several offers on this guy already, but I'm just waiting for the right deal right now. So until that time, he's a pretty nice addition to the collection. And another 70s grail, found it in a estate sale, the Kenner Alien. I've heard it said that these figures were pulled because they weren't popular due to the horrific nature of the first movie, but who can really turn away this amazing figure? True, it is very, very delicate. I feel always kind of cautious just picking it up, moving it around, because it feels so delicate. And when I got it, both of the arms were detached at the estate sale, and I think I got a pretty decent deal on it. But I knew I could rewire the arms. It just was very nerve-wracking. But the kit, where you rewire it or string it, on like $9 on eBay. So this figure is, of course, missing a few things, most notably the dome across the top. I prefer it without it myself. I think it looks pretty awesome. He's missing a top spine appendage up here, and when I do the mouth here, the inner jaw is gone, but the jaw still works. I think it's awesome. I think the best part about this thing, the glow-in-the-dark paint still works, which is pretty awesome. So imagine all of that glowing an awesome green. It's pretty amazing. And considering that a little over a decade after this figure came out, I'd be going wild for the Kenner Aliens that came out in the early 90s. I feel like I have a distant ancestor here now, added to the collection to go buy all my original ones I still have. So okay, everyone, so now we'll have the reveal of all the toys that were part of that comic deal you saw in the last video. We're going to start out here with 3 X-Men movie collectibles. They were just kind of thrown into the deal. I said, sure, why not? I liked X-Men. The first movie was pretty cool. Here we have a model replica of the X-Jet on this pretty nice base. Let me see if I can get a zoom in here. And next up we have a little replica of Magneto's helmet and Wolverine's claw. Wasn't quite sure what to make of this. It doesn't really attach to the base, so it doesn't hang on the wall, but I said, sure, why not? And also part of the deal were a few complete in-box Sega Genesis games. Captain America and the Avengers, Mutant League Football, General Chaos, Battletech, and Sonic the Hedgehog. So we have a few miscellaneous toys before I get to the awesome ones. We have a few accessories, some MO2 weapons, a Transformer weapon, and I can't remember where this was from, and a couple of LGN Dungeons and Dragons figures from the 80s. Now, I was quite blown away when these two were added to the deal. He found 2 of his old Gen 1 Transformers. we have the Gen 1 Slag, which I already own a version of it. I got the Gen 2. But those who have this one, gotta let me know. Mine didn't have these blue decals on the front of the leg, so I'm not sure if that's a custom thing or was it supposed to be put there. And I figured I never thought I'd own the Gen 1 Megatron. Quite an interesting thing to transform. It was in gun mode in the box, but I think I pretty much figured it out. And the best part is, I think I might have his other accessories from another sale, so might just have him complete. But by far the most awe-inspiring part of the deal, 24 G.I. Joes from the early 80s. Got a few straight arm, like this Scarlet right here. Another one we have here is Grunt, although unfortunately, if I can zoom in, he's got his broken thumbs. If you had Joes, you remember that pain. And so many accessories, which will take me a good while to figure out who goes with what. But pretty awesome haul. I've never owned Joes, small quarter Joes, from the early 80s before. So pretty awesome. And the best one of all, in my opinion here, is this straight arm Snake Eyes. My favorite piece of the whole collection, toy wise. The Megatron comes in a close second. But I know the toy guys are probably doing the math in their heads how much this lot would possibly be worth. But I can let you know now that with this toy lot and the 3 boxes of comic books you saw me dig through and all the trade paperbacks, the grand total that we agreed to was $360. So given how much you might see in value here with the toys and the games, the remainder is pretty much what I spent on those awesome boxes of comic books and trade paperbacks. So I think a really amazing deal. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I made out pretty good. I paid too much. Just throw out a comment in there. I just love chatting back and forth with my viewers. But I am pretty much all inspired by this pickup. Okay everyone, so I hope you enjoyed this video. It's probably going to be the last one for the year, but I hope you at least like, comment, and hopefully maybe even subscribe to the channel. I truly appreciate your support, and I will see y'all in the new year. Keep on the hunt, keep asking for the vintage toys, comics, and video games, because you truly do not know what you'll get when you ask. So until next time, thanks for watching.